What, you want him to have a full-blown fight on the stage?
No, obviously
Well, but
not.
that's what could happen, isn't it? Of course you want it, because it's going to give you views, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Deontay Wilder just attacks on Anthony Joshua. At airport, and the entire boxing world is shaken by the explosive confrontation. Wilder reportedly storms in with raw emotion, shouting at Joshua and demanding the fight once again. Tensions explode as security steps in, while Joshua stays composed but unfazed. This rivalry is boiling over, and fans believe this could trigger the biggest heavyweight showdown. Duke McKenzie points out that even these heated airport moments between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua are part of the modern fight business. From a pure boxing standpoint, it may look chaotic, but in reality, it fuels global attention. This kind of drama sells fights, builds tension, and keeps both names trending worldwide.
I mean, it wasn't a few words, you know, I dapped it up with him and I said, now let's get it on. And it was simple as that.
Is that the fight you want next, Deontay?
I'm ready for whoever, you know. It's whoever. As long as these guys is in the heavyweight division, I'm here. You know, like I said, you can call me Mr. Clean because I want to clean up the whole division. The heavyweight division is nothing without Deontay Wilder.
Anthony Joshua makes it clear he's ready and willing to face Deontay Wilder, even offering Wembley as the stage for a massive showdown. He keeps it grounded in reality, stressing negotiations over hype. A Jay's message is simple: no delays, no excuses, just a straight path to one of the biggest heavyweight fights in boxing.
The arena, you know, in front of 100,000 audience. So I'm very keen to make that fight, but no fantasy contracts. Just reality, you know, bringing our worth to the table and bargaining and negotiating what we're worth and making this.
Tyson Fury shifts the narrative by giving Wilder more credit than Joshua, praising him for stepping up against top names like Ortiz and himself. He suggests Wilder has proven himself on the world stage while questioning AJ's readiness. Fury's comments add more fuel to the rivalry, subtly putting pressure on Joshua ahead of a potential mega fight.
He's been trying to fight Anthony Joshua for so long. I've proved it time and time again, going to Germany, coming to America as an underdog to fight these champions in our own country. For me, Anthony Joshua needs to prove himself on the world stage because he's so happy fighting in England, and he fought a beaten Klitschko after I'd destroyed him mentally and had a war with him in a beaten fighter. So he needs to prove he's willing to step up to the plate and fight the best.
Max Kellerman breaks down the Wilder versus Joshua fight from a business angle, suggesting there's actually no financial urgency for AJ to take the risk. He points out Joshua is already earning massive money in the UK, so stepping into a dangerous fight with Wilder is a high-risk, uncertain reward situation. But at the same time, Wilder's power makes him a threat to anyone in the division, which is exactly what makes this matchup so unpredictable.
Making $30 million a fight, fighting anyone in front of 70 to 100,000 fans in England. Why make $50 million to fight a guy who might beat him, right? Wilder really can beat he has chances against anyone because Fury's right. He's one of the great all-time punchers with the right hand. So there's no financial incentive.
Carl Frosch keeps it brutally honest, questioning whether Anthony Joshua truly believes he can beat Deontay Wilder. He highlights the danger factor, especially Wilder's explosive right hand, saying one clean shot could end the fight instantly. Frosch makes it clear that AJ must enter this fight with full confidence, because hesitation against someone like Wilder could be the difference between victory and a knockout loss.
I don't know if AJ believes he can beat Deontay. Well, maybe he does, maybe he wants to come back, maybe he wants to fight again, but what happens in that fight? Anthony Joshua in one corner, Deontay Wilder in the other corner, they come together in the centre of the ring. What happens? I honestly can't say what happens. I think if Deontay Wilder throws a couple of meaningful right hands and connects on AJ's chin, then the fight's over. AJ will be knocked out. He's got to fight confident in that fight.
Carl Froch highlights a strange moment where Anthony Joshua appeared uncertain as Deontay Wilder directly called him out after the fight. Froch suggests AJ didn't fully engage in the challenge, possibly showing hesitation or doubt. He questions whether Joshua truly believes he can beat Wilder, especially given Wilder's aggressive confidence. According to Froch, that mental uncertainty could be a major factor if this mega fight ever happens.
The walk from the ring, AJ was stood there looking a bit weird and a bit like confused, like, am I going to do anything? Am I not going to do anything? And Wilder, I think, said, let's do it next, let's do it, let's get it on. And AJ just sort of, he didn't say much. I think he might have said, you don't want this, or something to them lines, but never really tried to get the fight going. I think AJ's got this thing in his head where I don't think he's sure of himself. If he thinks about fighting Deontay Wilder, does he believe he can actually?
Duke McKenzie focuses on Wilder's ability to sell fights and how the Joshua matchup is still one of the biggest in boxing. He warns that despite AJ's size and power, Wilder remains extremely dangerous and unpredictable. McKenzie even suggests Joshua might hit harder, but still stresses the risk factor. Overall, he frames this clash as high risk, high reward, with both fighters carrying serious knockout potential.
Deontay Wilder knows how to sell a fight, and he's already called out Joshua. That's a big fight. I mean, like I said, I'd love to see him walk away from the sport. Wilder, I'd like to see him say, you know what, I've had enough, but he's already got his eyes on the next one, potentially a fight with Joshua. It's not a good fight to take. It's not a good fight to take. Yeah. Joshua's a big, meaty guy. Joshua's right hand's like probably the hardest. He's probably the hardest punching heavyweight right now. For me, personally, I think he hits harder than Wilder.
Johnny Nelson strongly pushes back on the idea that Deontay Wilder has lost his knockout power. He dismisses claims that TNT is gone, suggesting people are underestimating him. Nelson believes Wilder still has that explosive danger and could shock anyone in the division. His take adds controversy, reigniting debate over whether Wilder is still a top-tier knockout threat or a fading force.
Wilder's snapper's gone. Wilder's TNT is gone. Wilder's that punch is gone. He couldn't even let it go. He's just gone. So I don't believe that. I think Carl might be setting the cat amongst the pigeons.
Frank Smith makes it clear that all focus is now on managing Anthony Joshua's comeback in the smartest possible way. He describes AJ as the hot ticket, showing just how much global demand there is for his next move, especially a potential clash with Deontay Wilder. Behind the scenes, discussions are ongoing, and every decision is being carefully planned to maximize both performance and impact.
It's all eyes on getting AJ whatever works best for him, whatever the right route back is for him. There's discussions ongoing. AJ's the hot ticket. You know, everyone wants to fight Anthony Joshua, so let's see what happens.
Eddie Hearn reacts to the intensity around Joshua and Wilder, noting the cold, focused energy AJ showed when challenged. He admits Wilder wasn't perfect in his last outing, but still recognizes improvement and the threat he carries. Hearn's comments reflect a realistic view. AJ looks better, Wilder is still dangerous, and the fight remains one of the biggest possible matchups in boxing.
I thought he looked better. Listen, Chisora's not easy. Do you know what I mean? He's a tough man. He's not an easy guy to beat. I wasn't impressed with Wilder, but I was more impressed than I thought. If that makes sense. I know you shared him.
Anthony Joshua openly confirms his willingness to face Deontay Wilder, framing it as a fight that simply must happen between two top heavyweights of the same generation. He highlights the absence of mandatories and barriers, making it clear there are no excuses left. AJ's tone is focused and direct, signaling he's ready to settle the debate inside the ring on equal terms.
You really want Deontay Wilder?
I think it's simple. When I've listened to what he's been saying, that there does need to be one champion and one face. And we've both got an opportunity where I have no mandatories, he has no obligations.
Counterpunch Boxing delivers a firm take on the matchup, stating clearly that they don't see Deontay Wilder knocking out Anthony Joshua at this stage of his career. They argue that Wilder's jab isn't sharp or consistent enough to set up his famous right hand against someone like AJ. While they admit Wilder still has a chance to land a fight-changing shot, the overall assessment leans toward Joshua having the defensive tools and control to avoid danger and neutralize the knockout threat.
I do not see a Wilder knocking out Joshua. I just don't see it at this point. I don't see him. His jab is not good enough. he could probably possibly land one of those shots.
Anthony Joshua makes it clear that a fight with Deontay Wilder is no longer about hype or negotiation drama, but pure reality. He stresses that both fighters belong to the same generation and share the same legacy pressure as former heavyweight champions. AJ dismisses fantasy contracts, focusing instead on real negotiations and fairness. His tone shows maturity and urgency, signaling that this is a fight that must happen for both sporting and legacy reasons.
I say he said, she said, he said, she said. I think in the reality and the scheme of things, it's a fight that we have to have. We're both in the same generation, the same era, we're both heavyweight champions of the world. So with that being said, as I said, like, there's no fantasy contracts. It's a situation where it's reality. Like, I don't like coming to a stage in my career when I'm just talking about what I'm worth and negotiations.
Eddie Hearn reflects on the intensity of the Wilder and Joshua situation, noting how AJ remained cold and composed when confronted. He admits Wilder is improving, but still wasn't fully convincing in his recent performance, while also acknowledging Joshua looked better and more focused. Hearn balances criticism and praise, but ultimately reinforces that the interest in this fight remains massive despite questions over both fighters' current form.
Better. I thought he looked better. Listen, Chisora's not easy. Do you know what I mean? He's a tough man. He's not an easy guy to beat. Obviously, I wasn't impressed with Wilder, but I was more impressed than I thought. If that makes sense.
I know you're going to share it, but one more, obviously, just with Derek.
Pain Game highlights the massive fan demand for Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, calling it a fight the world has always wanted but never received. He admits both fighters are past their prime, yet that uncertainty actually makes the matchup even more intriguing. With AJ's recent struggles and Wilder's unpredictable form, he believes this clash carries more curiosity than ever, especially for fans wanting closure on a long-running heavyweight rivalry.
100,000 audience, so I'm very keen to make that fight, but no fantasy contracts, just reality.
Johnny Nelson makes a realistic assessment of the situation, suggesting that a fight between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua at this stage may not do either fighter any real sporting justice. He acknowledges Wilder's name value and past knockout success, but believes those peak moments are fading. According to Nelson, what fans may now be seeing is two experienced heavyweights past their prime rather than elite champions in their peak form. Still, he shows respect for both men and their careers, even if the fight has lost some of its original explosive edge.
Who are there to support him, and you don't really get that in boxing, you know, across various promoters. Like, he's been with all different promoters over his career, you know, he's worked with all different people, but he's one of those people who's managed to keep people together and actually want to support him.
Counterpunch Boxing delivers a firm take on the matchup, stating clearly that they don't see Deontay Wilder knocking out Anthony Joshua at this stage of his career. They argue that Wilder's jab isn't sharp or consistent enough to set up his famous right hand against someone like AJ. While they admit Wilder still has a chance to land a fight-changing shot, the overall assessment leans toward Joshua having the defensive tools and control to avoid danger and neutralize the knockout threat.